Hi guys! Today I am doing a little bit of a basic tutorial on how to do smoky eyes. This is just a normal black smoky eye. I'll probably do a separate tutorial for using colours because it's kind of a different concept. So just as a disclaimer, I kind of mess up halfway through this video because I had it like all smoky at the start and then as I put foundation on it just didn't work. It didn't work, okay? I failed, so I kind of like wiped it away and ended up with this. So please don't judge me because that is just me being fussy. The steps still apply, like how to do a smoky eye, it still all applies. I would just advise if you're just learning to do a smoky eye, then use tape because it'll just make your life so much easier and it'll look really effective. But anywho, I hope that the steps and everything will still make sense and that you can gain a little bit of knowledge from this. So without further ado, I will show you how I created this. Okay, so I look like an emo in the making right now. Okay, so I've already primed my lid and for that I use my NARS Soft Matte Concealer, which you've probably seen in my most recent videos. I've been looking for a concealer similar to the MAC Fluid something or other, I don't know, I'm not a MAC user. So I was looking for a cruelty-free version and I found the new concealer by NARS. Honestly, I love it. I've been using it on clients, I use it on myself every day and it's just so good because what I do before I do my brows is I actually sculpt underneath the brow with the concealer and then I do my brow afterwards and that's how I get such a sharp brow. I mean, the brow game is unbelievable today. So what I'm going to start with is a cream kind of product on my lid. You can go straight in with shadow if you want, but you won't get the intensity that you will from like a gel or a cream. For that, I'm using my Precision Gel Eyeliner by Illamasqua, and I'm just going to scrape some out with the back of my tweezers and pop that on the back of my hand. Kind of just getting into the habit of scraping things out because of working with clients and I have to scrape things out. So I'm going to take my Urban Decay brush here. This is from the Naked 2 palette, I believe, and this is also really good for like sculpting out brows and stuff. So I'm just going to take a bit on the brush and apply it on the centre of my lid, and literally I'm just patting it on and just gradually working it outwards. So once I kind of reach my crease, I'm going to stop. And I'm kind of going to bring it into the corner like this. On the inner corner I try to keep it as neat as possible because that's where it can start to look a bit muddy when you apply your highlight in the inner corner and we don't want that. You can literally pat this on with your finger if you wanted to. I just don't want to get eyeliner all over my finger because then it will probably just smudge everywhere somehow. I've literally just kept that on my eyelid, just up to my crease, and I've stopped there. Now what I'm going to do is, because obviously I've already done one eye, I'm going to just use my colour switch to take off the product on this brush. If you don't have one of these, you need one. It's really good for taking off dark colours and then you can go back into other colours. So this is like obviously a relatively clean brush now, and I'm just going to use that to kind of soften these edges. It looks pretty awful right now, right? Yeah. At this point I've kind of messed up because you should probably start with a transition colour, but I'm going to do a transition colour now. It doesn't really matter, but what I would advise is before you put the black on your lid, you start with a transition colour. Basically, I've tried to explain what a transition colour is so many times, and obviously it's shown in loads of YouTube videos, but without really an explanation as to what it does. A transition colour, it's in the name, it's a transition. For example, you can't just go from black to white, you have to go from black to grey to white. So we want something that is in between our highlight colour and black, so we want kind of like a neutral colour. You can go with something really warm and get like a little bit more of a warm autumny feel to a smoky eye, or you can use something quite ashy. So I did use a little bit of Combust from my Naked Smoky palette. I think this is kind of laid out as if that one is meant to be the transition colour. However, I feel for me it's a little bit too light. I like to have a little bit more depth. So what I did is I went into my Naked 1 palette and I actually used Naked and a tiny bit of Book because I just like to have a little bit more warmth. And what the transition colour will do is it'll actually help to blend the black into your skin. Even though Combust from the Smoky palette is not quite the colour I wanted to use. I did actually use it on this side before I decided to go a bit darker, so I am going to use it just to keep it as even as possible. I'm basically taking that just above my crease, like you can kind of feel the brow bone starting here, and I'm literally just following that. Okay, and then I'm going to go in with Naked. And I'm going to put a tiny bit of Book as well, and I'm going to use Book a little bit lower down in my crease. Okay, so now we want to set the gel liner on our lid. For that, I am going to use my Naked 2 palette, and I'm using Blackout. I think this is the best matte black. There's also a really good matte black in the Too Faced Chocolate Bar palette. I mean, you could, again, go in with the Smoky palette and use Black Market. However, that's more of a shimmery colour, and I much prefer doing really matte finish smoky eyes. But by all means, if you want something a little bit more shimmery, then you can go with that. And I'm literally just patting this on top of the gel base, and this will set it in place and also get a really intense black. And I'm bringing this actually over my crease. At this point, this is where your personal preference comes in. If you want it to be a really big smoky eye, then you can bring it over your crease. If you want it to just be a bit more natural, a bit more soft, you can basically stop where I've stopped here and just blend it out from there. At this point, I'm actually kind of sculpting the shape out. So you want it to go in on the inner corner and bring it upwards towards your brow. What you can do is apply tape here and go for a really sharp smoky eye. So from here, I'm going back in with the same brush from earlier, and I'm literally just going to smoke all of that out. And this will take a bit of time. You've got to be super patient with smoky eyes. And the secret to blending is don't press on really hard. Don't like gouge it into your eye like this. You literally just want to use really light pressure, and that's why I hold my brush quite far to the end, because it means that you're putting less pressure on automatically. And don't worry if the colour kind of disappears from here, because we can always reapply that. Right now it's just all about getting the transition, that gradient effect. What I'm going to do is take this same brush and go straight into Blackout again. Tap off the excess, and I'm pressing that back into the crease. Just blending it back in to get rid of these kind of bits where my skin's starting to become exposed. And from here you can go back in with another clean fluffy brush to blend that out, but I'm literally using the same one, and I'm just going to go with my colour switch to take off the excess product. Okay, and then again going back to blending. It's literally just a case of alternating, and that goes for like most makeup looks, you know, alternating between blending and applying colour. Okay, so that's looking pretty good. Just again reapplying where I need some more darkness. So now I can go back into my transition colour, and again this is just going to help to blend all the colours together. So I'm taking Naked again, and I'm taking it right over the edge. And I'm taking it right up to the brow bone, because we're going to be putting a highlight on the brow bone anyway. From here we can apply our highlights, and I'm going into my Smoky palette and using the colour 13, which is a really nice highlight. If you want something more dramatic, you can use like a really stark white. And then taking a pencil brush, I'm going in with the same colour and placing it on the inner corner. Okay, so now we've got that highlight there, blend that into your transition and black. And there we go, we've got like that nice seamless look now. For me, normally, like on a client, at this point I would actually do foundation first and then I would go under the eye, but just because I want to show that eye makeup in one go, I'm applying a base now. Oh, I've got concealer in it. That's also something I advise. Don't do your foundation before you're going to do a smoky eye, because you're going to get fallout and you don't want black smudges all over your face. It'll just anger you and put you off doing a smoky eye altogether. What I'm doing for my lower lash line is I'm taking what's left on my blending brush and I'm literally just running that along the lower lash line. And I'm bringing it right into the inner corner. You can put like a shimmer on the centre or do a bit of a gradient from black to silver to white. It's totally up to you. So I'm going back with my flat shader brush, taking a little bit of black out on there and keeping this kind of close to the lash line. And using my fluffy blending brush to blend that out. So again, I'm going back in with that highlight and just blending that into my lower lash line. And then something that I quite like to do is put like a colour on my waterline, and it just makes it really pop, like an electric blue or something. Looks really cool. But I am just going to do black. So I'm using an angle brush and the same gel liner that I used at the start. Okay, and then I'm taking a bit of black out to set it. You don't have to do this if you have a really good like waterproof eyeliner, but I really struggle with keeping black eyeliners on my waterline, so I always set it with a bit of eyeshadow. And then I'm finishing off with some mascara. This is my favourite mascara at the moment. It's the Kiko Milano Summer 2.0 Collection Mascara. It's like such a mouthful, but it's a shame that this mascara is only limited edition because it's so good. It's got like a really tiny brush on it. So you can get tiny lashes. Okay, so that is basically the smoky eyes done. Now I'm gonna go in with my foundation and just like clean up this edge. I'll do my contour, highlight, all that jazz. Okay, so I kind of failed and decided to change the shape. I've kind of just wiped away the edge and I've gone for a sharp look. I'm sorry. Last stage, after I've done like my foundation, highlight, contour, blah, lips. I think the safest bet with smoky eyes is obviously like a nude colour, which I think is what most people would feel comfortable with. So I'm using my Kiko lip palette, Smart Lip Palette. This is number 2. I'm gonna just do something quite basic, like maybe like one of these dark colours, like that mixed with a bit of that. I don't know, I'm just gonna throw something together here. Okay, so that is the finished look. I hope you like it, even though I kind of messed up, but hey. Hopefully this was helpful. If it was, then please let me know. If you have like any requests for kind of like basic tutorials on like maybe contouring or eyebrows or something like that that you kind of want to see, then let me know in the comments. Also follow me on Facebook and Instagram because I tend to post there, especially if I do looks that I haven't like filmed a tutorial for. I'll still upload pictures on Instagram, so you can always like request tutorials for looks that I post on Instagram. That's it then guys, I hope you enjoyed this and I'll see you in my next video.